Hello, all you wonderful Rise of Kingdoms players out there. This is Dragothien here, and we're going to be doing another Commander Mastery Guide, and it is Artemisia's turn. Wow, she's come a long way on this channel as far as the way I viewed her when she first came out. Couldn't stand her. I could never get my head wrapped around the fact that every time you cast your skill, you cause yourself damage. I couldn't do it. I also couldn't get around the expertise basically buffing the target that you're trying to kill. I didn't get it. But hey, we're here. We've learned together, right? And Artemisia is one of the best open field commanders in the game still. She is a force to be reckoned with on the open field. Still serviceable in Garrison, although there are obviously better choices now. The Zenobia YSS meta is here and it is in full effect. But I want to do a mastery guide on Artemisia. I want you guys to know how to use her in the open field and in Garrison if you need to. I've got her builds for you. I've got the skill descriptions down for you, Pat, so I can give you exactly what they mean. We're going to talk about some pairings for the open field and maybe some Garrison if you would like. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with a summary to go ahead and give you from start to finish if you're a brand new player, all the way up to being a, season of conquest veteran on your 8th KBK. Should you be using her? How you should be using her? And then again, we'll go ahead and wrap the video up, and I hope you will have enjoyed at that point in time. So let's go ahead and get started with the skills. First skill, devastating AoE, 1800 damage factor, 3 targets in a fan-shaped area. But then you hurt yourself a little bit. A little self-cutting involved, but it's just a little bit of self-cutting. Deals damage to all troops led by this commander. 300, that's you. That's your troops. You get damage, 300 damage factor to your troops. But then you unleash 1800 damage factor. Now, something to be clear on. It doesn't say the same thing as all the other AoE commanders that are out there. Like, I could probably pick Trajan there, but I won't. YSS, for instance. Damage dealt to each target is reduced by 15% for each additional target. Artemisia doesn't say that. However, it is still true. She does get the 15% damage reduction for multiple targets being hit. So keep that in mind in case you're looking at this skill and you're like, wow, that's like OP because she doesn't have reduced damage. She does. She does have reduced damage on multiple targets hit, but it's still really good, guys. It's bigger than YSG with his expertise, and that's just her first skill maxed out. So that's a big deal, okay? Now, that's, just so much damage. So much damage getting pumped out. It's 1,000 rage requirement, so it's a normal rage requirement. There's nothing special about it. Bow and Mount, the second skill. Archer units led by this commander gain 20% increased defense and 20% increased health. That's huge on the open field. That gives you so much sustain, so much tankiness on the open field to where you're not getting instantly nuked down by all those Zhang Yus and Guans too, and Genghis Khans and Saladins and Williams out there. You will have some staying power. You will have some survivability with the second skill. Very critical. I think this is also something that you can maybe look at when you're starting to think about maybe using Artemisia as a rallying commander. I know that it's not highly recommended. I've even said that on this channel. However, with how much craziness is out there with the Garrison meta right now, I'm willing to try anything. And if I take a little bit of extra damage every once in a while because of the expertise, but I have a lot of staying power with Artemisia, maybe there's something to be looked at here. Okay, so something to think about. Third skill here, Ally of Xerxes. While this commander is leading the garrisons, this is a garrison only skill. It's for your city or stronghold, meaning basically when you're garrisoning anything, all incoming normal attacks deal 6% reduced damage up to 10. At the same time, garrison troops normal attacks have a 10% chance to disarm. Which again, the only other commander that has really a disarm capability is El Cid, their target for 1 second. So that's really good. You can actually, if you have Artemisia El Cid, disarm the target twice possibly in a skill cycle. It's pretty cool. Or more. It could be more per skill cycle. You could turn everybody into an Edward basically, trying to attack you. That's pretty sweet. But again, that's only for Garrison. If that was for open field, it would be OP. Fourth skill, Queen of Caria. When this commander's rage meter reaches 80%, there's a 50% chance to silence your own troops. Okay? That's the thing. That's the thing, all right? That delays your skill cycle by 3 whole seconds. But at the same time, you grant her troops up to 50% damage increase for 5 seconds. The 5 seconds number is very important because for 5 seconds means in 3 seconds you're going to cast your own skill, which we already said the first skill is really freaking powerful. Okay. Add a 50% damage bonus to this. Okay. And then whoever you have behind her will also get that 50% damage bonus, assuming you are using Artemisia as a primary commander. If you're using Artemisia as a secondary commander, this isn't going to work as well. It'll only hit one of your commanders, but not both. Okay. So say you have maybe a Nebu Artemisia. The Nebu should get the buff because it's 5 seconds, but Artemisia will not get her own buff. And again, Artemisia is one of the heaviest damage dealing commanders in the game. I generally will recommend Artemisia being primary in almost every instance because of this skill alone. Now the expertise. Normal attacks have a 10% chance to deal additional damage per second, 400, and cause the target to deal an extra 15% skill damage for 3 seconds. This is a 1200 damage over time skill. So 400, 400, 400. But you also buff the enemy for 3 seconds with 15% extra skill damage. Now that could be right on time for that target of yours, and he's just casting his first skill, and that means you just buffed your target by 15% skill damage for 2 skills right into your face. Okay. Or it could have hit right after those things go off and it doesn't do anything negative to you and you get nothing but positive. So again, Artemisia is one of those commanders that she just explodes. She's either a massive game-changing everything, or she implodes. That's kind of the way it is. She either kills herself to death and buffs the target to kill her to death, or she absolutely devastates everything around her and is a pulsing murder ball by herself. That's kind of the deal with Artemisia. So you have to wrap your head around that. But once you do, and you see the devastation, which I think, to be honest with you, with all these chance things happening, I think more often than not, you're actually the benefitter. You benefit the most. You're not really benefiting the target as much as you might think you are. So I think overall, Artemisia is a must-have for open field, which is why I've got her at 5533. I was trying my damnedest to get her to 5515, but I just could not get my skill resets to do what I wanted them to do. So I'm at 5533, and I will likely just have to save up and max her. So we're going to be doing that too. But that being said, let's go ahead and move on to her talent builds. I've got a few talent builds I want to show you. First one's going to be the open field one, and then the next one is going to be an anti-Attila city garrison one. But again, with so much that's out there right now, I don't necessarily think that you should be using her unless you just don't have anything else. I mean, if you're in a smaller kingdom and you're not facing a whole lot of Nebu Ramses or Ramses Nebus and Zhang Yu, Chandras, things like that, and you're facing primarily like Attila Takedas, or if you're an off garrison and you're garrisoning like the 5th flag over to the left inside of Kingsland or something, then Artemisia is perfectly fine to do. But if you're talking about being a main garrison commander in a big kingdom, late season of conquest kind of thing, then maybe this isn't going to be what you want to use her for, okay? But we're going to start with the open field commander here, and we're going to go ahead and bring that up. There we go. So first off, Artemisia open field. This is going to give you 11 rage per second. And again, all these builds that you're about to see, in the link in the description below for my Discord, you hop in, you join, you go down to the builds, and you have all the builds for the commanders sitting there waiting for you for all the different roles that these commanders have and what you need for yourself. So again, going full archer tree here, because there's no skill, because there's no support, we don't have to worry about going for feral nature or rejuvenate or any of that nonsense. We've got loose formation to help with some tankiness on the bottom there for anti-skill damage. We're giving ourselves a little bit of a heal to help with the fact that we're actually damaging ourselves whenever we cast our skill. On the defense, the tree there, we have damage reduction as well in the defense tree. I skipped Testudo formation. I'm still fuzzy on that one, but I can't give up The archer tree. The archer tree is just so damn good. The archer tree is just so good. Going all the way up to the top of the archer tree, you have the potential, when you stack up not only all the skills that we talked about with the 50% damage bonus and the damage factor that we already start with and all the other things, but then that top archer talent pops off as well. I mean, you're going to instantly get everything to 2/3 health with one skill cycle there. Same thing with the phoenix-tailed arrows. You're just going to be lighting everything up around you like fireworks. It's going to be crazy. This is the build that I would use on Artemisia on the open field as a primary. The other one, again, is a city garrison build for anti-Attila. I generally go this build for anything anti-Attila, really, because you don't need impregnable. That's a skill damage reduction. And I don't go all the way down to Kingsguard, just because, again, this is for city garrison. So if you want to have maybe an Artemisia Tamiris or an Artemisia YSS or Artemisia YSG, all those things work perfectly fine. You do get Phoenix Tail. I'm sorry. On the top right talent here for the archer tree here, you'll get the benefits from that. You get Rage. You get also, again, Testudo formation, Fight to the Death, and then certainly you have the heal here and everything. Basically, anything that's anti-skill, I removed because, again, anti-Attila. Attila is no skill damage. So that's kind of where that's at. Those are the two builds that I would recommend for her. Venomous Sting, I believe, is the top right one, if I recall correctly. Oh, and of course, I didn't go back to it too quickly enough. It's not going to come up. We're going to go over pairings as soon as I go back into the game here. So, pairings for Artemisia. You're going to want to stick with archer commanders, obviously. And there's a couple different skills that Artemisia has that lends towards different types of roles. So if you want to go maximum damage, right, you want to go heavy AoE damage, I think there's some pretty obvious choices that will pop up pretty much instantly as soon as the game loads, because I have so much stuff in my city. I should just empty everything out of my city, honestly. I should just empty everything out of my city so it doesn't take forever to load. YSG, I mean, clearly a top candidate to be paired up with Artemisia. Artemisia primary, YSG secondary. Perfectly fine. If you want a little more damage and a decent amount tankiness less, you can go YSG primary because of the skill tree. You're going to be firing off skills faster. You're going to be, again, you're going to be buffing with clarity on the talent tree for skill. But again, you're going to lose some of that extra benefit of the fourth skill that we were talking about. And again, you're not going to be nearly as tanky, and YSG primary on anything gets instantly targeted without a doubt. El Cid as a secondary, a fantastic choice. Again, with that double disarm capability if you're in a garrison, or if you're not in garrison, having a disarm capability to help slow down your target from firing their skills off, because you may also slow down yourself, can't hurt at all. I would also say Ethelfled actually is not a bad secondary as well. She does the debuff, she does the bonus damages, and if you want to actually do Ethelfled primary, you can do the talent tree with the slow, so you can increase the damage to enemy troops when they are affected by slowdown, and that would also buff Artemisia. That's definitely something that you can do as well. Ethelfled's a nice little universal commander that you can use her with. Edward Artemisia. So you're already possibly silencing yourself, and Edward has, again, a 1350 rage requirement. That's the highest in the game, but that's because he has a 2500 direct damage factor nuke. So with that being said, you can technically use Edward Artemisia, and you're going to be possibly having almost a 16, 17, 18 second skill cycle if you silence yourself as well. That being said, the amount of health that this pair has, archer health bonus 30%. Artemisia has 20% on her skills. That's 50% health bonus. I don't think there's any commander pairing out there, or I mean, I know Constantine has a really good health bonus, and you can probably pair it with no, Alex is defense and attack. Well, I think either Charles or Richard also has a health bonus. You can make it on infantry, but not with this kind of nuke. Not with this kind of nuking capability. 2500 direct damage factor on Edward, and 1800 AoE direct damage factor on Artemisia with a 50% buff Could you imagine Edward getting a 50% buff from that 4th skill? It'll take a little longer to fire, but that'll be a 300,000 nuke. Just saying. Let's see what else we got. Ramses, of course, a clear choice. You could definitely pair her up with Ramses. You can go Ramses primary or Artemisia, but again, I recommend Artemisia primary just because of the 4th skill, so that both commanders can take advantage of the damage increase. Tamiris is a clear candidate to be paired with her. Again, for the same reasons as Ramses and El Cid and all the other ones. However, with her, it's even better because if you silence yourself, you're not only going to get that 50% damage bonus, but you're also increasing the damage taken by your target by Tamiris because you're continuing to stack up your poison on that target, increasing the extra skill damage by 3% more for 3 more seconds. That's basically a 9% extra skill damage buff that you're providing your target, well, yourself against the target, because you are effectively waiting 3 more seconds to fire your skill. So Tamiris is a fantastic secondary to Artemisia in any situation. Very, very strong. There's Artemisia herself. I've wanted to try, and if you've done this before already, leave it in the comment section below and describe it for me. I've wanted to try Trajan and Artemisia because of the Trajan bonuses that you get for damage and all that stuff, but you got to have mixed troops, and you could start kind of nerfing yourself a little bit. But if you have the right mix of troops and you have primarily archers, it might not be bad. It might not be bad. If you tried it, leave it in the comment section below. I think it's worth a shot. Certainly, again, Cyrus, Nebu, both are great secondaries to Artemisia or primaries, but again, you're losing half of your damage going to one of the commanders. That being said, though, both will work beautifully with Artemisia, and Nebu particularly, of course, would be devastating with Artemisia because he is also an AoE commander as well, and just having a massive AoE murder hornet, basically. He's just buzzing around and stinging everything on the battlefield is definitely worthwhile. Of course, you can always pair up with Kusunoki if you're going epic. You can go Kusunoki, you can go Herman. Again, Herman has a silence as well for your target, at least, and not for yourself. So maybe you can kind of, again, start to equal out some of those skill cycles by silencing yourself with that 4th skill. And that's, I mean, Kira's not a bad option too, if you want to go that route. The AoE that you get from Kira is very strong, and again, can easily take that buff and go really nice. And then you have these skill damage bonuses on top of everything too. Kira Artemisia might be a little hidden sleeper, epic legendary pair. Won't get all the stats and stuff, like 10% attack, 10% defense. It's not that strong, obviously, compared to a Ramses that gives you almost 100% in stats. It's pretty crazy. Things like that. Of course, you can always do Dao Chan and Osman and stuff like that. Those are your universal nukers will all work with Artemisia as well. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it. So let's summarize Artemisia. Let's go back up to her, and let's talk about why you should be using her, when you should be using her, and things like that. So obviously, in Season 1, 2, and 3, you're not going to get Artemisia. She's not unlocked until you start to get into the Season of Conquest. We're talking about plus 300 and some days until you can get her. So you can't really use her early game. You just can't. She's not there. But once you hit the Season of Conquest, Artemisia is an earlier commander that I would recommend maxing, or at least getting to 5515 if you can get luckier than I was. Because how devastating she is. Not only by herself, but all those pairs that I described, almost every single one of them are premier archer pairs. You can use them in any situation, open field wise, whether it's in altars or ruins, whether it's just open field in KBK, whether it's in Canyon, and certainly, again, the majority of those can also easily be used as a garrison for a secondary off garrison if it's getting rallied by Attila or something, or something like that. So very, very, very strong commander here. But again, she's a must-have at some point, and I've recognized that, and I've finally started to come back around and get her taken care of. If I had to pick either maxing Khan or maxing Artemisia, I would max Artemisia. If I had to pick between maxing, let's see what some of the other commanders that I used universals on. If I had to choose between maxing Edward and maxing Artemisia. I would max Artemisia if I had to choose between maxing. Those are all season 1 commander types things. Harold and Artemisia. I would definitely max Artemisia. Like, that's how good she is. She's very, very strong. Okay. So hope this has been helpful for you all. Hope it's been educational and you've enjoyed it. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification. According to my analytics, about 40% of you are watching and just not even doing the free thing. Just tap that subscribe button. That's all you gotta do. It's free. And look forward to seeing you guys. We've got excellent KBK updates coming very soon. Today is the last day of my family trip, so I will be back live the next day coming, and we will be doing some fun things in KBK, guys. It is not over. I know we took a punch in the mouth, but we're still here. We're still here, and we're going to be going strong. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one, and take care.